They need to decide what they want to do. They keep changing up the plans. We don't know what's going on. We don't know. But let's see.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Remen, aka All Fires. Now, as if there isn't enough going on right now with Marvel Studios, the Fantastic Four trailer officially coming tomorrow, and then basically dropping a brand new Captain America Brave New World trailer every single day, we have a bombshell headline that literally broke within the last hour, indicating that Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige is considering bringing back Jonathan Majors' Kang the Conqueror to close his storyline. We're going to break down exactly where this article came from, read through it in full, and then try to add some context, if we even can, as to why Marvel Studios may have done a 180 here from cutting all ties with the actor and restructuring their multiverse saga to considering bringing him back now to close the Kang storyline. We're breaking it all down, this bombshell that Jonathan Majors may be back as Kang the Conqueror in the future of the MCU. But quickly first, if you could hit the subscribe button, guys. We do daily Marvel content at the channel. That's all we do, and especially as we head into the next two Avengers films, we cover it all here at the channel and as it's breaking. So if you're into that kind of thing, hit the sub button, leave a comment down below. That automatically enters you for our ongoing PS5 giveaway. Stick around at the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so this story actually broke within the last hour at the Industry Insider editorial Screen Geek. Again, under the headline exclusive, Marvel's Kevin Feige considering bringing Jonathan Majors back to the MCU. Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige is considering bringing Jonathan Majors back after the studio cut ties with the actor, where they go on to report, quote, "At one point, Jonathan Majors was being set up to follow Josh Brolin's footsteps as the next overarching Marvel villain. His character, Kang the Conqueror, was established with several appearances. However, Marvel Studios cut ties with Jonathan Majors after he was convicted of assault, though studio head Kevin Feige now reportedly wants Jonathan Majors back in the MCU, and they continue by saying, quote, according to our sources, Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige is considering bringing Jonathan Majors back into the MCU. The idea is for Majors to appear in a future Marvel project to wrap up some loose ends with Kang and close the character's story." Now, first off and right off the bat, let me be very clear how I feel about this, and I don't really care if you disagree. You can let me know in the comments. They should absolutely do this. Jonathan Majors 100% deserves it. Now look, I know what happened with him and what happened with James Gunn was a little bit different. James Gunn had some really ill-colored tweets that came out and he got fired, but then he got brought back. But it's not as though Marvel Studios, the whole Hollywood industry, isn't fluid and doesn't give people second chances. That's what Robert Downey Jr. being given a second chance to be Iron Man after his prison stint was all about. So yes, 100,000% Jonathan Majors deserves it. They should absolutely bring him back. I am not surprised at all that this finally broke as a headline, because look, Marvel Studios wanted to make a pivot into Doctor Doom given that Variety article without Jonathan Majors' legal troubles, and as it stands, that may have just been the off-ramp they were looking for. But now that they've brought Robert Downey Jr. back, they absolutely risk nothing by doing this. I know there are those people out there, and I've even said something along the lines of, you bring Robert Downey Jr. in to make everybody forget about Jonathan Majors' Kang. You don't then go ahead and bring Kang the Conqueror back. But given this circumstance and the way the chips have fallen now, this is something I think they absolutely should do. Now, obviously, Kang the Conqueror was set up to be a multiversal villain, and remember, Loki Season 2 was concluded before they knew what was happening with Jonathan Majors and his trial and all his legal troubles. They basically gave themselves the off-ramp that they might have been looking for, and then his legal troubles just basically sealed the deal. But he has obviously suffered consequences, paid the price. They should absolutely bring him back. In the Fantastic Four #2, down the road after the multiverse saga has concluded, maybe as Rama Tut or a different variant, would absolutely 100% serve the character and serve him as a villain for the Fantastic Four and the film. That's where I think it should take place. There are those who say, hey, King the Conqueror should show up and then Doctor Doom should squash him to basically illustrate that Doctor Doom is that much more powerful. But let's face it, he already got squashed by Ant-Man and the Wasp at the end of Quantumania. I don't really think that would do more to set up Doom, and I honestly feel like that would just be a dead end for his character, not really the sort of validation that he's looking for in bringing him back. And probably Marvel Studios sees this from a bird's eye view, and I don't think that's the place for him. Again, they brought Doctor Doom in to be the villain on these next couple of films, and they have more than enough to try to explain and work into the film. There are characters that they are cutting down right now. They are not going to work Kang the Conqueror back into this after going through great lengths to get rid of him as the villain for the rest of the multiverse saga and, of course, Avengers Secret Wars. Now look, at the end of the day, Marvel Studios doesn't have to do this. In fact, you could argue there's more to be lost than gained here, but for the sake of Jonathan Majors, they should absolutely do it. This isn't just about, well, you bring back Kang after you got rid of him, and Doom was really the big villain, so why would anybody care now if it's after the multiverse saga? It's not about any of that. It's about Jonathan Majors being brought back to finish his character, and undeniably, he was settling into that role really, really well. Look, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania may not have done at the box office what Marvel was hoping for, and they may have had doubts about whether or not him as a villain could have carried the multiverse saga, but let's face it, there were problems with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and Jonathan Majors as Kang was not one of them. And his portrayal as multiple variants, especially as they got into Loki Season 2, was absolutely amazing. I really feel like a lot of fans not only want to see him return, but think that he was excellent in that role and one of the shining stars out of Phase 4 and Phase 5. And honestly, it's only upside for Marvel. If they go and do this, I doubt they'll face any backlash at all, but they will ingratiate themselves to all of the fans like myself who think that Jonathan Majors should be given a second chance and brought back to actually finish what he started in with that character. And sort of on a side note, because I know you guys come here for my opinion and reporting about the MCU and not life in general, but man, like, do people need to be made to suffer and be punished for their mistakes forever? I hate, as a parent, that, kids these days don't get an opportunity to make genuine mistakes because there's cameras everywhere and ridiculous consequences for things that when we were kids, we would get away with. And I'm not saying what Jonathan Majors did was a kid, but what I'm saying is that with cameras everywhere and with the court of public opinion being what it is now, that there's central discourse on the internet, on YouTube videos, on TikTok videos, I just feel like at some rate, people should be allowed to make mistakes, pay whatever price or consequence they have to pay, and then you give them a second chance. There is nothing to be gained from grudging against people or being mad about something they did in perpetuity, and especially not in this case. But of course, you guys let me know, as always, what you feel and think down in the comments. You are definitely allowed to disagree with me at every turn. Like I said, I don't censor my comments in this regard. I mean, I do censor them if you say ridiculous stuff, but I don't censor them in the sense if we don't agree on opinions. That's not me. That's not my type of YouTube channel, and I'm all ears. I do encourage the discourse, especially if we have different opinions. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff.
We don't care about the giveaway stuff. Go buy your PS5. Stop being broke.